At this time, we want to welcome you to Focus on Liberia. Good morning in my part of the USA. Good afternoon for those in the East Coast. Good afternoon for folks in Liberia. Good evening, wherever you are. This is Focus on Liberia. Welcome and welcome to our Saturday special edition of our broadcast here at Focus on Liberia. I am Anthony C. hosting. My guest is Mr. George Preston Lobbo, now in Liberia, who went there purposely to campaign for the referendum. He went to campaign for a no vote on the referendum. And he also had the opportunity to participate in this just in the electioneering process. Josh is here in the house, and we are about to talk about the just and the special senatorial elections that was just held in Liberia. Welcome to the show. Again, I'm Anthony C. hosting, and Josh is my guest. At this time, let me welcome my guest, Mr. Josh Lobbo. Preston, welcome to Focus on Liberia. I'm happy to have you. How is Mama Liberia doing, my friend?
Anthony, I want to say thank you very much. It's a privilege to rejoin you guys from the motherland. Liberia is treating me well, as you can see. I just drove through the huge traffic around Monrovia, but I was glad to be here to ensure that I show up for the interview.
Thank you, Josh. Never disappoint. And he is here for the exclusive interview on the elections that just went down. I think he might be smiling given what we know so far. But, some results are yet to be called. They called some, and Josh Lobo is a happy man. But, Josh, let's get started here quickly. Our viewers have been waiting. So, let's start from the basic. Let's talk about the citizens of Liberia who participated in this election. I want to say overwhelmingly because from all indication that the turnout was a little more impressive. So tell me, before, during, and after, what was the mood of the citizens, the people of Liberia, about these elections?
Anthony, let me be very, very clear with you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me be very clear with you. Liberians show up in numbers
Mm-hmm.
because they all have come to understand the enormous importance that elections come with. Many of them today are living the consequences of the decision they made in 2017. And as a result of that, I think many of them saw the need to come out to ensure that their voices are heard, to ensure that the ruling government, the ruling party, listen to their views and they express their whether it was their dissatisfaction of the government, whether it was a referendum on the president and his performance. Liberians show up in mass numbers to send that message clear to President Weah, and I'm pretty sure that package was delivered by FedEx to him, and he did receive.
So let's talk about the election itself. Some people are saying it was peaceful. Some people saying free and fair. What is your assessment? You are on the ground. Is it safe to say that was a very peaceful election?
Anthony, I like to be very much optimistic, and I like to be a realist as much as possible.
Mhm.
Yeah, everywhere around the world, there will always be circumstances, there will be situations during elections. But from what I observed, there was nothing major that I can recall
Mhm.
for which I believe would say that the election was not free and fair.
Mhm.
The National Elections Commission, and even on election day, I was in Ganta City, Nima County. I had the privilege to travel around, to drive around Ganta, where I observed few polling centers. The atmosphere was relatively calm. There was nothing that I could recall. So I wasn't in Monrovia. It would be wrong for me to make assumption or give statements about Monrovia when I was not there. But given where I was in Ganta City, I would tell you the election was conducted in the most professional manner. That's what I would say.
And George, like come to the elections officials, those who were in charge of administering the elections. Prior to the election, the bloc that you are part of, the opposition CPP, even went as far as calling for resignations but the election you are saying was conducted peacefully. Uh, so what's your take? Do you now have the courage to give these election officials some credit here for conducting a peaceful election so far?
Let me say this to you, Anthony. The issue of giving peace, giving the election commission or officials credit for what was done, we must first and foremost thank the Liberian people
Okay.
because they decided that despite of their enormous suffering,
Mhm.
that they were going to show up on these long lines, regardless of all the health concerns that's out here, to vote. So we must give the Liberian because they had to conduct themselves in the most compatible manner in which that people have respect for them. And I want to thank the Liberian people because they showed that. Overall, I want to say to the Elections Commission and the Joint Security Task Force, I think it was the election was conducted in the most professional manner. That's what I would say for this point.
George, so with what you know, the way election officials, the Liberian people, and even parties and candidates are conducting themselves throughout the election process, for which we are all proud to say, well, it was a very peaceful election. What we saw here is the people marching to the polls and making a decision. Is it safe now, based on what you know, that the Liberian people are the one who call the shot, who decide who becomes a representative, a senator, and the president, and not any party, or politicians or political leaders have any power yet to call anything? Is that safe to say that?
Anthony, I think it's very, very clear.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who goes into public service
Mm-hmm.
and misunderstand your job description, you might be an idiot.
Okay.
If you don't know who your employers are, you must be a fool. Because I'll tell you, Anthony, the people are the ones who elect you. They give you a mandate. They send you to represent them. And those who've gone there and have done a poor job, I think the people have said your employers just fire you. That's what happened. So it's not unfortunate. But let me say this very clear answer. This was a clear message to all the people currently serving in the government and those in the legislature, to be precise. This gone December 8th election was a very clear indication of what is yet to come. As you know, there will be 15 senators up for grab come 2023, and this is exactly what we're going to do. The Liberian people have said enough is enough. There's gone are those days where people send you to represent them and you go to Capitol Building to work at the will and the pleasure of the president. I think the people are not going to put up for it. And those who the people believe have done a good job in represented them or in representing them, they were rewarded. They were hired back and said, go back to Capitol Building, continue to do the job. I can give you names like, for example, my good friend and brother, not my good friend and brother, but the senator who can read from Grand Cape Mount County, Victor Watson.
Mm-hmm.
I think he will be a testimony to that. For my own countryman from Lofa County, George Tengbe, he had to understand that no amount of sheep could have protected him. So this is a clear indication. If you do a good job, you are absolutely correct. The people are your employer, and you must respect the people, and that is what happened.
And George, let's come to the issue of expectations. You, as a member of the opposition bloc, has fears and expectation. It is human, right? Knowing what you have communicated over the time that the current government has been. You argue that the current government does not respect the rule of law. So on that basis alone, you have some fears and expectation. Did those expectations come true?
Let me say this very clear. For right now, I won't. Alex, I've been very, very clear since I've been in the country. For example, on the issue of the rule of law as it relates to security for all citizens, there are many concerns in the country. A lot of things are happening, but I want to be very, very frank with you. I have not had any reason to be afraid. The government, no one have given me any reason to think that someone is after me. So if I was speaking from that perspective, I would like to be frank and say, no, not at all. Regardless of my doubt, that does not mean I'm going to be stupid and running to the streets acting like a fool. But I will take all necessary precautionary measures to ensure that I'm safe and don't put myself in harm's way. But so far, I want to say, Anthony, since I've been on the ground, things have been relatively calm. And that's what I would say to that.
Thank you so very much, Josh Lobbo there joining us from Monrovia, Liberia in the homeland. I'm answering here, hosting here a focus on Liberia, and we are having a conversation on the just ended senatorial by elections. Josh, election is not about dancing, though we saw the campaign time people were dancing. It is about getting the political victory and use that victory for the betterment of the people, even though at times candidates win and then they use the victory for their own benefit. So let's come to this issue of winning. Let's go, uh, let's start with the reporting. First, when results started coming in, we saw tally sheets flying on social media and just about seeing 4 or 5 tally sheets. Some people were claiming victory, they were announcing winners. Tell me, George, was that appropriate? Were those kind of behaviors premature by some individuals who had engaged in those behaviors?
Anthony, let me be very, very clear here with you. I don't want to turn, I won't use your terminology because I don't think the decision by those candidates or political parties or political institutions that were claiming victory was immature or childish. No, I would disagree with you. In the great United States of America, the one who believes that he is going to lose will call the next person and congratulate them and will, which means they will conceal to that person. So having said that, it's nothing different. Anthony, you need to understand one thing. There was a lot put into this election. So everybody had their war rooms. They had representation at all polling stations. So it was very easy. All you basically had to do was to get your tally sheets, input the data into your own system, and that way you will know where you stand as a result of that. If you know that you already have, because the tally sheet copies that we have were official documentation from the National Elections Commission. So definitely we have all reasons to celebrate. I won't say that celebration was premature or wrong. It was our right to celebrate. The Constitution does not say no political party have the right to celebrate before National Elections Commission announces the result. That's not what the law says. The laws only say that they are the official institution clothed with the authority to announce the official results and pronounce the winner. But that doesn't mean we won't know because we had our own documentation. And as a result of that, but the results haven't changed since we celebrated. Tell me one thing, if anything has changed since we started the celebration. For one thing, we've been very, very clear. The CPP have maintained our grip and will continue to enforce our position to ensure that come 2023, we retire the CDC and president we are making the former president. That is our position. That's clear.
So before we go to specific counties and the outcomes so far, and also preliminary reports that are available, why were you how will you describe the CPP performance and also the performance of the CDC?
Let me say this to you, Anthony. From that perspective, I want to say we as members of the CPP, we are very, very proud of what we were able to accomplish. Uh, Anthony, given how much resources was invested in Monserrado, for example, where the government retreated all her forces from around the country and brought them to Monrovia and saying that this is where the battle will be fought. We were able to defeat them with all their artillery and all their forces and all the resources they deployed. So the fact that we were able to do that, that itself just tell you where we stand and what we are capable of doing. But I would say this for us in the CPP, I don't know what the CDC is doing. I can't speak for them. I'm concerned about what we were able to do. We are satisfied with our performance. We were able to win counties that the CDC thought that they must win by all means, and we're glad and able to win those counties. So, having said that, the CDC can now begin to regroup. I think they will have to move now and claim Grand Coup. It's unfortunate that Dr. Peter Coleman is struggling as well. So, I don't know where will the CDC now claim that they own because Monserrado, if they did, it was the late. It's unfortunate. The CDC owns nowhere anymore because as far as we are concerned, our goal is laser focus on ensuring that President George Weah is a one-term president and will make that official come 2023. That position will never change.
So let's look at specific counties and George. Grand Bassa, for example, that race has been called in your favor with Senator Yumli Kanga Lawrence pulling a victory with a percentage of 42. and defeating Western Garfield with 22,476 votes. And Western Guy coming very short and getting 20,349 votes. So she won that race with 20,000, I mean, 2,000 votes. That is safe to say. So looking at this result, is this something that you knew was going to come anyway?
Absolutely, absolutely, Anthony. Absolutely. We were prepared for this result. We're prepared for this outcome. Uh, as you know, we were able to listen, Anthony. Mm-hmm. The Liberian people have been underestimated for too long. We don't give them as much credit as they deserve. We thought that the Liberian people will reward a government that have increased their suffering, that have done nothing to improve the living standard of them and their children. The a president who have shown no interest in improving the living standard of his people. He has turned his eyes on the suffering of the people. We knew the Liberian people were not going to sit down and celebrate such things. The president, in the midst of a major pandemic that the world is challenged with, he has all the time to be playing soccer in the street. The Liberian people were not going to put up for that. The Liberian people have had enough from this government. And let me say this, Anthony. Right. I travel around the country and I speak to Liberians all over, and they tell me straight up front. They said if they had advice to give to the president, we are the advice they will give him. It's very simple. They will tell him to resign come 2022 and don't contest, because if he does contest, what happened to Donald Trump in America will be even worse than what he will receive 2023. So that decision is up to him. He can choose to contest, but the Liberian people are resolved and they have come to the conclusion that the CDC government, even if you gave them 40 years from now, they will take Liberia nowhere but take us back. Since President Weah became president, he put Liberia in reverse and the country have been going back. The only thing we are praying for that the speed limit is reduced. Other than that, he could take us back faster than we anticipated. So they're not going to reward the CDC. So, well, Basil Gafina is the only minister of foreign affairs who could not even manage a department at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Under his watchful eyes, dubious major scandal that brought disgrace to the country. You think Liberians were going to put up for that and celebrate him for his poor performance? Impossible. So for us, we knew it was a risk they were taking, but we were resolved. And at the end of the day, we put our forces where we had to put our troops, and we were able to pull that off. And we've done that.
Let's talk about Grand Cape Mount County. My understanding is that the CPP is at 19,447 votes. The CDC candidate there, who you talked about earlier, right now, he's at 8,000 votes. So technically, you are far ahead here. Is this one over too? And what did you do to get this win?
In Grand Cape Mount, the scenario was a lot easier because the very first thing the people of Cape Mountaineers made it very clear. Mm-hmm. They need a senator who understands his roles and responsibility. A senator have three major cardinal functions as a lawmaker. Mm-hmm. One, which is representation. Two, which is lawmaking. Three, which is oversight. And for you to be able to do that, the most important thing, you must be able to read and comprehend. It's unfortunate that former Senator Victor Watson displayed his terrible, bad performance in the public domain. This is the only senator in the 21st century who could not even read like a third grade student. That was one of the most embarrassing things. I think the people of Grand Cape Mount, we didn't have to do a lot. They knew that this guy was not up for the job. He was a complete joke. And as a result of that, the people found a serious candidate in Simon Taylor, which comes from the CPP. And as a result, we move forward beyond that. Listen, this is not time to play. The country is struggling. Our people need serious leaders. Our people need good representation. And the last thing we want to do now is to continue to bring homeboys to trial. This is not time for trial and error. Those days are gone. We are in a major economic global challenge community, and we need real leaders, people who understand what is at stake and go to Capitol building and get serious. We're not looking for homeboys to go hang out to Capitol building. Those days are over. And come 2023, many other people will follow the message. This is just the beginning to what we intend to do. We intend to clean the house.
George, let's go to your county and correct me if I'm wrong. You are from Bond, isn't it?
I was born in Bond County, yes.
Okay,
from Bond
so
County. Yes.
I will give that to you. The CPP candidate pulled a victory for you. He won with 39,337 votes, constituting 51%. And the CDC candidate, he fell very short, coming up with 25,000 votes at 32.9%. What did you do to get this victory in Bond County?
Anthony, Bon County was a very serious, so a very easy one. I appeared in Bon on Monday. I was on Radio Banga where I had the privilege to speak to my people. Not only that, I also was on Banga Broad Street speaking to young people, and I made the case very, very clear that the CDC government don't have what it takes to even stage a referendum. Not only that, I also made the case that if you vote for anyone that is affiliated with the CDC or associated with the CDC, you will be rewarding President Weah for his poor performance. You'll be rewarding the CDC for its bad governance. And my brothers and sisters in Bon County listened to some of our appeal, and on the basis of that, they were able to vote right. And I'll say this, Anthony, my people appreciated the fact that I was able to come back home to speak to them. The video is on Facebook. All the callers that called, they were very grateful of the fact that I was able to leave the United States to return home to engage them and to provide meaningful, valuable information that allowed them to change their decision. Look, I'll tell you a story, Anthony. I stopped in Banga because I had a running stomach earlier. So I stopped in Banga and I decided I wanted to buy pills. The girl who was selling the pharmacy, she told me, I'm going to vote tomorrow on the proposition. I'm going to vote yes for everything. And I said, why do you want to vote yes? She said, oh, the people said they want to reduce the president term. For me, I agree. Let them do it. But when I took the time and explained to her, Anthony, while I was in the shop, she crossed next door to the next shop and was able to educate the next person and say, no, this is a trap. I'm going now to educate my people who voting no. And I did the same thing on Banga Broad Street. So my being in Liberia had a meaningful impact, and I'm grateful to the Liberians in the diaspora that supported that initiative. All of you guys, your 1 cent, 2 cent, 3 cent that made it possible to ensure that I'm on the ground and I can be able to move around and make the impact we're able to make. I'm very humble. That's all we have to do. Make the case in which we intend to make to ensuring that George Weah is a one-term president come 2020.
And George, in bombing, the CPP Samuel Johnson could not come anywhere close to Snow. Snow defeated him with 53.97%. He won that race with 16,000 votes. We know Snow has a history of being this political smoothie. You know, the smoothie that people buy in these restaurants? That's how he operates. But chances are that the CPP can caucus, he can caucus with it. Are you going to reach out to him to augment your strength in the halls of politics?
Anthony, absolutely. Yesterday, like I said, I've had a consultation with leaders. That is one recommendation that I was able to put forward right away. But let me tell you, the CPP is not sleeping. I can tell you that we trust the leadership we have since the inception of Chairman Cummings. He has been working tirelessly, and I want to thank him for all he has done. I'm pretty sure that the CPP leadership will definitely be reaching out. Don't forget, I'm pretty sure the Unity Party also will be reaching back to Snow. Snow only left because he wanted to contest. It's a good thing that he has won it. He can bring it back to us. So that's a very good thing. We support him. We want to see, but we will reach out to ensure that we strengthen our position. Let me say this very clear on this. I'm not going to hide what I believe. I strongly believe that come January, the Liberian Senate will deserve a new Senate pro tempore, and that can no longer be our chair. The CPP needs to move aggressively towards that position, and that is what I'm going to begin to propagate moving forward while I'm in this country, asking for the CPP to ensure that there is a new Senate pro tempore come January, and that can be our chair.
Nimba County, recent provisional results announced by the NEC put Mr. Kuhn at 34,000, whereas the CPP candidate Edith Gondoware is at 30,000. So Mr. Kuhn is above your candidate with 4,000, and 90% has reported so far. From what we're seeing, this thing is leaning in favor of Mr. Kuhn. I mean, can you get some vote from the 10,000, 10% that is left and pull a victory? I'm worried.
It's not impossible, but I like to be optimistic, and I try to be as realistic as I can be. Let me tell you one thing, Anthony. Everybody that worked in Jeremiah Kuhn office and myself grew up in Ganta. I knew Jeremiah Kuhn when he was in ninth grade at Yene High School. That's how long I've been knowing Jeremiah Kuhn. Uh, but I'll say this to you. After the election, one of the first lawmakers that I personally had the opportunity to meet one on one, and we shook hands and hugged, was Jeremiah Kuhn in Ganta before I left for Monrovia. And I told him, I said, my man, if the election don't go your way, I wish you all the best. Hopefully my side win. And I mean, we maintain that relationship. Jeremiah Kuhn and I, we do talk regularly. There's nothing different between us. But let me say this to you. I think in Miller County, what we've come to understand is that given what the results are showing, it's telling the CPP that what we need to do is to double up our effort and concentrate and put more forces on the ground. Whatever the outcome is, remember, it's not impossible for us to be able to take the lead and win Nimba. But I'm just saying, worst case scenario, Nimba will continue to remain another battleground for us where the CPP will have to heavily invest and move our troops there when the time comes for us ensuring that George Weah don't survive beyond 2023. Listen, let me say this, answer. I say it all the time. Liberians can call George Weah now, President George Weah now, the former president. He will be the former president officially come 2023.
George,
this is not something
he got 3 more years to go. I mean, in by-elections all around the world, we see the party in power, for the most part, not doing well at all. And they will go to work and come back and win bigly. So to be calling President Weah a former president now, I think you are getting ahead of the game. Don't you think so?
I'm not getting ahead of the game. Anthony, I know what is happening. Anthony, this is not a myth. It's a reality. In a country where people put their money in the banks and they have their children's school fees to pay, and they stand in lines at the banks, some 2-3 hours to withdraw their own money. Some go home with no money. The bank telling them that there's no money. Families, relatives send money to people. They are at MoneyGram, Western Union in the morning, some of them 2 hours, 3 hours, and they will go home without a cent. This is not normal. Our people are suffering. And if you understand what is at stake, if you believe in a decent living for our people, there's in no way that President George Weah can go beyond 2023. It's not normal. Something miraculous that must happen for that to happen.
Well, let's go to Lefa County. Latest provisional results got the CPP candidate at 17,000, and the next person in line is the candidate from Accra at 9,000. So even though the race is far from being over, you guys are in a comfortable lead. But before we come to the lead and what did you do differently, let's talk about that candidate, Bernie Samuka. I saw Ambassador Joseph Yoma Boaka raising the hand of your candidate, someone who was not only indicted but convicted by the court as your candidate. Are you proud of the candidate so far, Josh? Before we can go to whether or not he will win this thing, are you proud of the candidate? Do you agree with Joseph Yoma Boaka for him to have raised his hand?
Anthony, yes. I've trusted the judgment of Ambassador Boakai ever since he's been our political leader and been a public servant. Let me be very, very clear on the issue of Bernie Samuka. You know, Bernie Samuka case was a politically motivated case. It was very, very simple. Had President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf in 2018 or in late 2017 signed the budget into law, we would not have had that case because you know what? That money was being appropriated in the budget or being allotted for in the budget. That budget didn't pass. President Weah, before coming to power, was informed. He knew about it. He and then President Sirleaf spoke about it, that he was going to ensure that the money was paid because it was in the budget. However, they managed to use it. They thought it would have been a political strategy to hold down Bernie Samuka. Unfortunately, that strategy didn't work. Let me be very clear. You saying they could indict him, true, they could indicted him. But what happened was they couldn't find him guilty of corruption. They could find him guilty of misappropriation, according to what it said, because the money initially was intended for retirement for AFL, But Bernie Samoka, then defense minister,
But
used the
just
money to settle money.
misappropriation is a
Let me
crime, and you
finish.
know that.
Let me let me finish my statement, sir. Let me finish. The court said he used the money. What did he use the money on? He used the money to settle wounded AFL soldiers' medical bill. Had it been your brother who had returned from Mali and was struck by a rocket, would you have preferred the defense minister to ignore them? And why the AFL have money in the bank? We have to be real here when we speak to
And
this
then what
national
stopped the
issues.
defense minister from making the necessary call to the appropriate authority that, hey, we have to spend some money from here because of the reason? He did not make that
But,
call.
but,
And that is why he
but
was
that is why
caught.
that excuse me.
Mhm.
That is why President Salif told then incoming President Weah that this money was appropriated for in the budget and it should have settled that issue. But President Weah knowing very well that Bernie Samoka was going to be a candidate in Lofa, they decided to prosecute that. If we want to be real here about the issues, Anthony, we have $16 billion still unaccounted for. We have $25 million that's yet to be fought. They remain a mystery to be solved. Why haven't we prosecuted those responsible? Why is it the government have now moved expeditiously to indict those who are responsible for the infusion and the map of the money? Why haven't that happened? Oh, the government is speaking. It's a selective justice. We knew what the strategy was. They thought it would have impeded the character of Bernie Samoka, a man who served 12 years as defense minister of the Republic of Liberia.
So,
So
Joe,
under his leadership, Miss, you can go ahead.
so Joe, are you saying
Because if you
that
want to stop me, go ahead.
Bernie Samoka is a man of clean character?
Let me be very clear, Anthony. Who determines who is right or wrong? As far as I'm concerned, the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia ruled that Bernie Samoka was clear to contest, and that is where we go to settle constitutional matters. As far as I'm concerned, in as much as the court granted him the right to contest, when people have constitutional dispute, that is why we run to the third branch of government, which is responsible for interpreting the law. And they did just that. Now we do have a senator elect from Lofa County who will be Bernie Samoka. So listen, let me say this to you before we end on this
And
conversation.
so you are calling that race that he's going to win it?
Take this to the bank, not Akara Great Bank, because Akara Great Bank, they got
I was
Bolba
just
Molu
about to ask you that
Bernie
because...
Samoka, no.
Go ahead.
Bernie Samoka will be the next senator of Lofa County. Yes.
All right.
And the CPP won Lofa.
All right. Thank you, George.
You can congratulate him.
Let's come to Monserrato County, the one in which the two political sides, put everything that they had in their arsenal for Thomas Fowler and Darius DeLong. But let's start with the election in D9. According to the recent provisional result that was announced by NEC, your candidate, Fugo Amaherins, is at 4,266 votes, constituting 31%, and the CDC Safoko is at 4,578, constituting 34%. So the CDC candidate right now, based on the provisional result recently released by NAG, is in the lead. You think you're going to turn this thing around in District 9?
You say who's in the lead? I didn't see the results today.
Yeah, it was announced. The result has not been uploaded, but I listened to the press conference, and from my listening, I gathered that Safoko is 4,578 and Fubi Henry is 4,266.
Okay. So let me say this to you, Anthony.
Right. But it's not called yet. It's about 50% reported so far.
So I don't want to speak on that type of race because given the information we've been gathering from our own sources, we heard that Fubi Henry will be declared winner. So what I would like to do is let me wait. I would like to wait until I will speak to some folks in the war room to see where the data is showing. But let me say this to you very clear. The Liberian people made a decision in December 8th. And as a result of that, we will have to wait and see what happens. All right. But Anthony, I want to be very, very clear. We cannot continue to reward the CDC knowing how much our people are suffering. And so let me say this. Anyone who wants to run to the CDC for cover, do it. If you have not learned your lesson, 2023 will be the one to open your eyes for real. And 2023, I can assure you, we will not only retire many CDC, but we intend to send the entire political party CDC down the grave. They got so many empty caskets they've been having. We'll put them in their own casket when the time comes. That will do for them.
Thank you. Let's come to the most contested race of all. Monserrado County, the race between Darius DeLong and Thomas Fala, according to recent provisional results that was announced by NEC a few hours ago, put Darius DeLong at 182,763, constituting 61%, whereas Thomas Fada, the CDC candidate, is at 106,354, constituting 35.72%. So technically, you see DeLong in a comfortable lead, about 70,000 votes, far more than what he won with Polita Weir. This is a done deal, Josh?
Listen, let me say this very clear, Anthony. In Monserrado, it was very clear. The Liberian people were resolved. The Liberian people are feeling the suffering firsthand. In Monserrado is where you go to the banks, ATM machines, long queues. Anthony, when you see ATM machine lines in Monrovia, it's as if to say people are standing online for refugee distribution. That's not normal. The people know what is happening. Anthony, when I was here a few years ago, $4,000 was no small money. Was no small money. Anthony, $5,000, $5,000 can't go a day with you, except maybe you're not stretching your hands to anybody. $5,000 can't do nothing for you. This is what the country has become under the CDC. Not only that, you have the entire market flooded with mutilated banknotes. What an embarrassment. So the issue about Fala and DeLong was clear. The people are suffering. Anthony, there's in no way George Weah will win any election anyway. On the basis of that, I've made it very clear. President George Weah will be the former president officially come 2023. You don't want to call him the former president now. He has 3 more years, I agree. But come 2023, it will be made official. He will be the former president. For me, I can call him the former president for now because I'm sure he will be. So on the basis of that, we didn't care how much money was given to Fala. The people even have a joke in Monrovia that if you can't get money, you go to Thomas Fala ATM, money is available there. You expect the people to go and reward the CDC for that? Yes. What have the CDC done since they came to power? More Liberians now live below the poverty line than they were 3 years ago. Liberia's image on the world stage has been diminished. Our government have been accused of selling passports to drug dealers, terrorists. And on the basis of that, you expected the people to reward Fala? Fala is the chair of Ways, Means, and Finance, where people who work at the Capitol building have not been paid. We see our brothers being treated like slaves by their own government. And you expected them to reward Fala? Something must be wrong with someone to even vote for Fala. On the basis of that, this is why the lead is where it is. The margin is have widened than it should be. And on the basis of that, we're clear. The numbers won't change. But let me be very clear here today. The CDC do believe that there's 17 continents. They might win election on another continent, but not on this one. As far as I'm concerned, Abraham Darius Dillon will be the next senator of Monserrado. That is something you can take to our bank again. Don't go to a Caribbean bank. Take it to our own bank.
All right, Josh, let's come to, I know earlier you said you don't speak for the CDC, but you are a politician now. You are a vice chairman, I believe for operation, right, for Unity Party USA and Canada. So I want you to speak to this. Don't tell me you don't speak for the CDC. These results that we are seeing heavily leaning in your favor, you meaning the CPP. Tell me what the results are saying about CDC come 2023, even now.
Anthony, ever since I arrived in the country on the 26th of November, I've had the privilege to travel around the country. I've had the opportunity to walk around the streets of Monrovia, walk the streets of Ganta, in Buchanan, in Kakata, and in other places. Anthony, the Liberian people are suffering. Look, I'll tell you this, Anthony. People are beggars, not because they want to beg. People are begging because it is the way of life. The Bible says you must ask and it shall be given. Knock and the door shall be open. It says seek and you shall find. On the basis of that, they've chosen to beg. We might not be able to help all of them. We can't, that's on the basis of that, they continue to beg. It is not easy in this country. And there's no way the people will sit down and allow the government that continue to create the condition for them to be beggars to reward them. That is not something they intend to do.
George, my question here is that there are others who have entertained this belief that the Mante Coalition for Democratic Change, the citizens will say, others are saying it is a former party now. I don't get into those kind of things, but that's what others are saying. Does George Lobbo entertain that kind of temptation to say CDC is a former party?
Oh, let me say this so you answer me. Look, it is very, very clear that our people have expressed where they stand with this party. Oh, sorry, I keep getting this call when people see you on live. I'm on live, folks. I don't like this call.
I know there's too much distraction there. Hold on. Adjust yourself, folks, in cyberspace. You are watching Focus on Liberia. I'm answering.
Yeah, and they're calling me, and it is distraction.
Yeah,
too much.
I don't
want that.
Saturday special, and we are in conversation with Mr. George Preston Lobbo, currently in Monrovia.
Let me answer the.
Go ahead.
Hold on, let me tell the person I'm in a meeting.
Yeah, do that, George. We are in conversation with George Preston Lobbo. He's now in Liberia. He went there purposely to campaign on the referendum that has just taken place. George is one of those who believe that Liberians should vote no on all the proposals on the referendum that was just held. And he went there, he did his part. Now he's joining us, and we are talking about election. And later on, we'll talk about the referendum. I know I saw a post from him. I don't know where he got his information from, because even the National Election Commission Club, with the authority to tell us how the referendum is going, is yet to tell us anything. But Josh has something to say. So, Josh, my question was this idea being expressed by others that CDC is a former party now. And maybe they are saying that because that was the case of other parties in the past that we see no more. I don't believe that as yet. Do you believe that? That CDC is a former party now because of by-elections results?
Anthony, let me say this to you. There are many political parties that have ruled Liberia, and some of them today remain. You have to understand, when you look at the foundation that CDC was built upon, it is not one that was based on institutional principles. It was based on one man popularity, and that man popularity have diminished. And as a result of that, if you take George Weah from the CDC, there is no CDC. So we believe that once we retire President George Weah 2023, his movement will die. The movement he brought was the CDC. And we pray his movement go along with him, because as far as we are concerned, it is not an institution based on any kind of real fundamental principles. There's no vision in that party. Oh, listen, Anthony, I will be expecting the CDC to do the right thing, to name for us or to present the public with the new party chairman. We hope they will keep their words. But again, this is the basic things they do. The party came to prominence based on deception and lies. We'll wait to see what they do. This is not the first time, but the Liberian people have figured the CDC out. So at this particular point in time, there's nothing more to say on it. But I'll tell you one thing. The reason why is very, very clear. That once George will advocate the same, there will be no more CDC. Nobody will want to run the CDC again. And eventually that party will die on its own. And that is what we intend to do.
And George, something I just pick up from you there. Are you trying to suggest that the CDC chairman, Mama K. Monu, will not be able to honor his words that should Darius Dillon win, he will resign as chairman of the party? Are you saying Mr. Monu is not a man of his own words and he is just a liquor talker? Is that what you're telling me?
Anthony,
George, I'm asking
I'm
a serious
sorry that I have to
question. Don't
laugh.
laugh.
I had to laugh on this. Listen, I told you the CDC is not a real institution. In any given normal society, a functioning institution, Moluba Molu will not be the chairman of the CDC. We heard what he said about his stand-up error. We heard what he said about the president. It's unfortunate to know that the CDC has been headed by a man who say things that he don't know what he's saying. So hold on 1 second, just 1 second for me.
All right.
1 second. Hey, business, business. I'm on live. Let me finish. I'm doing an interview. I'll call you right back. Okay. So, Anthony, let me say this to you. Chairman Molu told us how the president gives job. Imagine the chairman of the ruling party telling the public in an audio, in a leaked audio, how the president gives out job. He also told us that when the president goes out to lobby for money, that the president divert the money to his personal use, but he still holds that position as chairman. It's unfortunate. So at this particular point in time, we'll wait and see. The chairman said, if Abraham Darius Dillon wins the election and becomes senator, definitely he will resign. And like I said, we hope the CDC will move. I use the word expeditiously to provide for the public in the name of the new party chairman. Chairman Molu will do the right thing. I hope he does, but it's unfortunate. I don't expect that to happen because in the CDC, doing the right thing is not what is anticipated of you or expected from you. So we'll leave it where it's at, but I don't believe he will do it.
So you don't see the possibility of the CDC having a political recovery to pull on a fight in 2023? You don't see that at all?
Even if you took President George Weah to heaven to hang out with Jesus and bring him back, come 2023, he will be the former president. That's not a myth.
All right, that answers my question. Then let me come to the CPP. Do these results that are heavily leaning the CPP say anything about your prospects for 2023?
Absolutely, Anthony. The results indicate that our people have faith in the CPP, that our people do believe in what the CPP stands for. Our people are in need of a real, genuine change. Our people are seeking for a real leadership, a real movement that will yield real, actual transformation, not a fake revolution that comes to power and bring more hardship. On the basis of that, our people have identified the CPP as the people, as the organization or the political party structure or the institution that will be able to take them where they need to get. And so I want to say to you, the results that you are seeing, they are very good for us. These are indications that when we speak as the CPP, our people are listening and they will do just that. And so we will be prepared come 2023. We've learned, and we'll prepare ourselves to put our troops on the ground come 2023.
Okay, let's talk about consequences. I like that saying that election has consequences. And sometimes people only look at the consequences nationally, how it affects the life of the people. But let us not forget that elections also have consequences internally. in political party, especially when you are in an alliance as the CPP. Darius DeLong beating the CDC, because I'm confident he's going to win. Darius DeLong beating the CDC in its claimed stronghold, Monserrado County, 2 times. Nyombli Kanka, I will argue doing the same thing in Grand Bassa County, 2 times. The two of them are from the Liberty Party. The Liberty Party has established a significant relevance nationally with the two leaders from that political party beating the CDC twice. Election has consequences, George. Darius DeLong may well be a national candidate. Let me link him with Joseph Yomamboaka. What is his history of winning other than being a sidekick to a presidential candidate? Has he won anything?
Let me be very clear. I think your statements. One thing I've always done is to respect the opinion of everybody, whether the one expressed is for or against my position. And I believe that it is not my responsibility to infringe on your constitutional right, which is your right to freedom of expression. Mm-hmm. And I respect that. But having said that, let me respectfully disagree with your assertions. Let me be very clear with you. When you say he has no history of winning, I think that is not true. That is a fallacy. He was the vice president 2 terms. That means he has a history of winning. The people elect a president and a vice president. So you can't say he has no history of winning. So let's leave that. Notwithstanding, you said in the segment as well that he lifted the hand of Brendan Samuka up in Lofa County. And as a result, Brendan Samuka will become the next senator of Lofa County. So you can't say he has no history of winning. Well, let me be very clear, Anthony. I am not going to get into those insinuations or speculations. Whatever you perceive about Darius DeLong and Senator Nyombli Kanga win, it is your right to your opinion. You have the right to think how you think. But I'll say this to you. The CPB arrangement is very, very clear. We will elect our Steno Bearer and Vice Steno Bearer from the 4 collaborating political parties. It is Abraham Darius DeLong's right to contest if he want to, if he so chooses, or Nyombli Kanga learns. But here's what can be done. Abraham Darius DeLong can win a nomination in the Liberty Party, and then he can make that argument for himself. I'm not going to get into all of that because as far as I'm concerned, that is way beyond time. What I will be concerned about now is how the CPB can continue to extend our outreach, win as many people we can to join our fighting forces so that come 2023, we retire the CDC for good. People will always speculate. People will always anticipate. People will say what they believe, and that is their right to say how they feel and what they think about Abraham Darius DeLong win. One thing Senator DeLong and myself during our conversation before the press conference said, he told me, he said, George, this would not have happened without the CPB backing. And on the basis of that, I think they don't understand how much the CPP meant to him and what they did for him. I'm not going to get into all of that, all the other things that you people think, but I'll say this so you answer it. The CPP is strong. We've proven that we can win. And on the basis of that, I want to thank Chairman Cummings and the leadership of the CPP. And that is what I would say to that.
And George, there has been this belief by some members in the CPP that Mr. Cummings has no relevance whatsoever in the country, at least to talk about in the CPP. And he is the current chairman. And now all results show that you are doing excellently well. Does it mean now that Chairman Cummings has some relevance in the political landscape in Liberia? I know for you, you have not said that. I haven't heard that from you. There are others who have said that, one of which is your good friend, Henry Pedro Costa. I don't think this is a good thing for the CPP with the infighting. Don't you think this kind of fight will ruin your chances that you are claiming are very, very promising?
Anthony, once again, let me say this. I'm George Preston Lobbo Jr. Mm-hmm. He is Henry Pedro Costa. I speak for myself. He speaks for himself. Our understanding of institution might be different. Costa and I, we're good friends, like you said, but we do have disagreement from time to time on different issues. We do respond to the issues differently, and that is just normal. What I'm not prepared to do is to get into what Costa was thinking when he made the statement he made. But as far as I'm concerned, here's what I would say to you very clear. I believe in Chairman Cummings' leadership. And as far as I'm concerned, he is the chairman of the CPP. If the CPP felt that he had no significance or had no magnitude or didn't have the leadership ability, they would not have taken full collaborating political party and allowed him to lead. On the basis of that, I think that argument is defeated by his action. And I want to thank the chairman for what he has done and continue to do. And I hope that Chairman Cummings don't get distracted, continue to focus on that path, and let's proceed. All the other things that people think and people say whether he has relevance or no relevance, that's fine. A man who has no relevance runs a political party, join into a collaboration. It's unfortunate for people to say that about him. Listen, let me tell you one thing. You can have disagreement with Cummings. You can say, I don't like the guy for this reason, but I think it's unprofessional for people to call people and say this and that. Because at the end of the day, if you want to make condescending statement against him, that's you're doing it straight to the CPP. And on the basis of that, I will not take that. And I will say this to every member of the CPP is to learn to respect our leaders. We might express our disagreements, but your view does not surpass the view of all four collaborating political parties who chose Cummings to be their chairman. We need to respect him and give him the support he needs. So that the next time when your own party chairman takes the lead, everybody will respect him and do the same thing. And that is what I've done.
Thank you so very much, George. Our job is to ask the questions on the things that we hear, and we throw it at you, who are the political operative, to give us the clarity or your answers as you see fit. Thank you for that. Let me progress here. And folks in cyberspace, it's about time for you to place your phone calls so that you can ask some questions. My guests will be more than willing to take a few questions. We just gone 1 hour. We are here for 1 hour, 30 minutes. And so I will give you 25 minutes of the 30 minutes remaining for you to place your phone calls and interact with my guest, Josh Lobbo. And the final 5 minutes will be used for his closing and my closing of the broadcast. This is Focus on Liberia. This is our Saturday special with me, Anthony C. And again, my guest is George Preston Lobbo. George, since these results have been coming, let's make the thing a little bit politically teasing. Your good friend, I'm saying that, for fun, Eugene Lamin Fagon, the god of the facts and fiction, I haven't heard him say anything since these results have been coming and leading in your favor. Is he still kicking politically?
Anthony. It is this question is one very interesting question. I think yesterday I had a brief section on Spoon TV, and they had Keith there, and someone had mentioned the Eugene Lamin Fagon, and I just made it very very clear. I am not worried about what Fagon is doing. I wish Fagon all the best because I have love for all Liberians, and he happened to be a Liberian. That's what I would say to that. But let me be very very clear. Given what Fagon said, I know Fagon might be in coma at this particular point in time. No, let me tell you, Anthony, the CDC is devastated by this defeat. They can't get over what have happened to them. The CDC right now is in a complete shock, and it will take few days for them to get with the reality. And on the basis of that, I want to give them the time to heal. These are very difficult moments in their life. This is where they claim to have been their home. It's unfortunate you told your friends to come home to follow you from school. You say, oh, mama, home. Let's go to my house so we can go eat. And you all came home and then they say you don't live there. It's like you're Osacha. That is what happened to the CDC. They lie almost rather than they just made it clear to them that no, you don't own it. So on the basis of that, I'm pretty sure the facts and fiction of Eugene Lamin Fagon, the man who was voted by the Liberian legislature and declared a non-governmental material, I'm pretty sure he is dealing with it loss. So I want to give them some time to kind of get over it. And once they do, he will surface again. One thing about Fagon got no shame. I can bet my neck for him. He definitely will come up with some type of spin. Let me tell you one thing, Anthony. The CDC convinced themselves that the Liberian people are not smart, that they can lie to our people. Yeah. And it's unfortunate the people have figured them out to know that they are scammers and the people not falling for it. So Fagon will come up with any story he wants to come up with. That's his best. I wish him all the best. But at this particular point in time, we are beyond that.
And George, have you heard from Akaros Gray, the man with the bang? And have you heard anything from your GM brother Chris Monsilli? Have you heard from the man, the cow guy? What's his name? Mike Jabate. There's not much we've heard from these guys since the election results been featuring him heavily in the favor of the CPP. I mean, let me repeat that. Have you heard from? Oh, Joyce stay distracted here. Just have
I'm
you
listening
heard
to
from?
you. Go ahead.
Okay, have you heard from Akaros Gray? Have you heard from Ma Jabate? Have you heard from? I don't know if I'd be right to say your GM brother Chris Monsele. I mean, have you heard from them? Are they doing okay? You are there now, Josh. Tell me.
Anthony, I think I saw a post from Mike Jabate, and I wrote on there and I said, Mike, are you okay? You know, I'm very concerned about these young guys. These are difficult times. But Anthony, you know, when you lost someone, or when you lost something, it takes some time for you to kind of get over the loss.
Mhm.
So you have to allow these folks to heal. This is not something small, especially when people said that if the Longhorn had won this election, some of them said they will commit suicide. Some people said we should chop their neck off. Some people say we should kill them. But we're not going to kill them. We'll let them live with their own guilt and suffer it. As far as we are concerned, we are all Liberians. Let me say this to you. Last night, I ran into a lot of Thomas Fowler campaign team,
Mhm.
and some of them, and now we hug. Just because of how they've made politics, I won't be calling people name, but
Mhm.
you no, listen, you'll be surprised when they see me. Last night we were joking. They said, Lobo, you on the radio, we hear you because you guys won. And I told them, I said, it's not because we won. I told you guys why I came to do, and this is just the prelude to what is yet to come 2023. So one thing, Anthony, is that I've done is that we are Liberians. Those guys are our friends, regardless of which political side we are on. I want to ensure that we respect everyone's view. We might have our political differences, but other than that, I have nothing against them. I'm willing to listen to Mike to see my gym brother Chris Sally. I definitely will be checking on them to see how they do.
At least we heard from uh, Chairman Koji, and he spoke. I believe seditions are saying he spoke powerfully. We heard from him. Anything you pick up? Did he sound like he has conceded to these elections? What did you pick up from there, George?
You know, the chairman, the chairman was the youth chairman had me laughing. Anthony. At some point in time, I felt he was conceding, and then another point in time in the speech, he said something different, talking about the results and what we want to do and blah blah blah. Let me say this to you, Anthony. I have concluded that he was very fortunate to have been given the position that is bigger than him, and as a result, I think he's overwhelmed by the job. So I strongly believe that the young man is stressed up, and because of that stress, I've decided not to add to that. And that is why sometimes the young man say things that far from the reality, talking about the 17th continent political stunt, or he uses words that's far. I don't know where it come from. So at the end of the day, let me say this to you. The CDC needs life. When you pass by the headquarters, Anthony, the other day you saw my post. I was asking if something happened to the DJ because I drove past the headquarters. It was not easy. Knowing that place is a very lively place. That place is one of the hottest entertainment spot in the country. Every day there's music there. People go there to just hang out. So to see that place in that mode, I think this morning even Ashford Garley posted something about the place. It's different. So these guys are going through a lot, Anthony. We must be able to guide our brothers during difficult times, and that's what I've decided to do. I will provide the support they need, and I'm open to helping them get over this defeat.
All right. We'd like enter into the final segment. George, purposely you left U.S. And went to Liberia to campaign for a no vote against the referendum for many reasons you have articulated over and over. Tell me, when you got on the ground and you look at the people and you talk to people, what is your assessment so far before coming to the referendum?
Anthony, it was very clear. Like I said in the US, I think it was a good thing. I made a very good judgment call. There was a need for someone to come to Liberia to be the messenger. There was a need for someone to come on the ground to engage our people and help provide clarity to what was at stake. And I'm glad that Liberians in the diaspora trusted me and they supported me being in this country to do that for them. And Anthony, I will tell you, Liberians were very appreciative of my being on the ground. Many of them wish that I had been here longer to have really traveled across the country. Everywhere I went, they really appreciated the importance of my being on the ground. They appreciated the fact that someone will leave the United States, given all the security challenges in Liberia and all that was happening in the country, but would still be willing to come forward to educate and impact the life of our people. They really, really were grateful. And on the basis of that, Anthony, I'll tell you, we would not have been able to achieve what we did if we had just sat in America and just had done nothing. And I want to thank the Liberians who believe in me and said, go and deliver the message for us. And that is what I did. And on the basis of that, now I can return to America and tell them the job was done, and then we'll proceed from there. And we just wanted to send a message clear to our people that when a referendum is held, it should be something that impacts the life of our people, something that has a propensity to change the future of our country. We need to look 5 generations beyond and 5 generations back. And it's unfortunate that a government of such a kind that is struggling, that's living hand to mouth, will want to push a referendum down the throats of our people. And on the basis of that, we came to Liberia and we were able to win what we came to do. And thank God for that.
And George, when you said the job was done, are you talking about you leaving and arriving in Liberia and carrying on the campaign that you went to Liberia for? Is that what you're talking about when you say the job is done? Or are you talking about your post in which you said the referendum was a failure and that the no vote won? Is that what you're talking about?
Absolutely, Anthony. Let me tell you one thing. We are not distracted by just the senatorial race result. We are also key on the referendum. So we also have the tally sheet as well. And on the basis of what we have so far, it's a no. The Liberian people have made it clear that this government should not even push for a referendum. They voted no against it. Who's calling me, folks? I don't know what Anson is doing. So on the basis of that, our people have said that they don't want no referendum. This government was focused its effort on trying to find solution to the economic problem they're facing. And that is why I mean by the job is done. I came to Liberia to ensure that this referendum didn't pass, that it was going to get a no vote on all its proposition, and we were able to achieve that. So mission was accomplished.
So
George, I don't know who's calling this system.
I know the NEC is yet to release any preliminary results. And now you are saying it was massively defeated based on information you have in your possession. Is this one of the things that you want me to take to your bank you talk about? Do you have money in that bank?
Put that in our bank.
All right. We have a caller, George. Let me take that caller quickly. Caller, your name and where you're joining us from.
Good afternoon, Mr. Anthony C. Thank you for taking my call. My name is Joseph Conto, and I'm calling from Charlotte, North Carolina, sir.
Go straightly into it, Joseph. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon to our brother, George Lobbo. Thanks for coming on. I enjoy how you answer the question. My question to you, Mr. Lobbo, has to do with the political parties in Liberia, especially the CPP. We understand that the CPP is doing a great job to hold together, even though there have been some kind of infighting and what have you. What is the CPP position now, since they have or she have established herself as the best face of the Liberian people in these elections? When it comes to independents who have won their seat, they are not with political party. Are there any plan within the CPP to reach out to these independents, to strengthen the CPP presence within the legislature, and as well as bringing together other independent political parties who are not part of the CPP establishment, sir? Thank you, and I'll take my answer off air.
Thank you. George,
you want me to answer?
Let me take the next one, and then you can answer two of them.
Okay, go ahead.
Anthony Doe, quickly to the issue, your question for George Lobbo, or comment, please.
I'm sorry. Brother C, Brother Lobbo, good afternoon to you guys. 1:34 in the afternoon here in Atlanta, Georgia. Mm-hmm. And like you rightly said, my name is Anthony Doe. Mr. Lobbo, how you doing in Monrovia?
I'm doing well. Fantastic.
Sounds good. Good to hear that. And what I want to say is not a question, it's like a comment. And we will always like to conscientize you guys that are politicians. I'm not a politician. I follow Liberia politics to the letter because I love my country. You guys will need to understand that the issue that has to do with the DeLone saga or the CPP is not an organized institution that can represent the Liberian people. We only using the CPP against the CDC is because it's between two wrongs. So the CPP kind of better than the CDC, but the CPP in itself is not organized. And we always want you guys to understand that you guys are not talking for us. We love our country. That's why we're supporting DeLone. DeLone is saying the things that we want to see happening in our country, and DeLone also need to be conscientized. The George Weah should be our case study for DeLone. They see Liberian people that say Hosanna, Hosanna. They see Liberian can say crucify him tomorrow, especially if you do the wrong thing. Our people are not foolish. They're not stupid. They're looking for a savior that will come and do the right thing, like some of the things that DeLone can say that has to do with Liberia, like equal opportunity for all. Stop stealing government money. Stop setting passports. Those are the things that Liberia want to see happen in the country. Develop the country. Build roads. Stop being personal property for yourself. Like some of people who say you build university after 9 years being in the legislature and Tottenham Hall and the rest of government institutions is not functioning rightly. And these people are taking money from the Ministry of Education for their personal property. And they expect we Liberians to sit here or in Liberia and look at them and feel like they're representing us. So all I try to say is that the CPP here say it's not organized. We see all those senators that pull on the ticket. Those people that don't advocate for anything like Mena Brennan Samika, he's not the best guy. But in the kingdom of Blanc, one are men a hero. Let Brennan Samika then know we're giving them second chance. We're watching them. If you go to the House of Senate and do business as usual, like the other guy who they put sanction on every day or vanish them, we're coming for you. For you, oh. That's a hint to the why quite official, Mr. Lobbo. You're not speaking for us here in the diaspora or in Liberia. You're a politician. Liberian people don't trust you. Trust you. By yourself.
Thank you.
At the end of the day, we want to see the betterment of the lives of our people. Thank you.
Thank you. George, your response.
Let me begin with the caller that just got off the line. I want to thank him for calling and expressing himself. Like I've said, I respect everyone's opinion. It is his constitutional right to freely express himself. But let me make some clarification here. You can't say that Darius DeLone the CPP is not organized, and Darius DeLone take pride in being a member of the CPP. The CPP is organized. We have a structure. We put forward a framework. It was an agreement that we went to NEC and said that we'll bring only one candidate. It takes a structure, organized group of political parties to come together to go to NEC and register as an alliance. So that statement is dead and baseless on its own upon arrival. But let me also say something. He said that I'm not speaking for the Liberians. It's unfortunate. Maybe you were not part of the process. But as far as I'm concerned, the trip that brought me to Liberia was supported and funded by Liberians in the diaspora. So maybe you might not be one of those Liberians, but the vast majority of those who contributed were Liberians. And Anthony Sia, who's here, is one of those contributors. So Anthony, are you a Japanese or a Korean? Because you did contribute to that effort. So definitely you are a Liberian. and so many other Liberians like Anthony and many other people. But let me say this real clear to you. The issue of the CPP, the Liberian people don't trust the CPP because they're not organized. It's not true, my dear brother. The CDC arrangement, they came to power without a framework, without no agreement, no formal agreement. We have not done that. We've done the best we can. We've had a primary, we had a process by which we had our candidates selected or chosen or primaries. Whatever we did, we had an agreement. So that takes the structure organization to do it. And we did just that. You don't have to give us credit. Let me say this to you. Many Liberians, they call and say, I don't belong to no political party, but sometimes the view you express show that you do have a side. But again, it's your right. So I just want to say to you on the basis of that, the CPP is organized. Let me go to the first caller, Mr. C. The first caller said, what is the CPP plan to reach out to independents and people who want to solidify our position? I think that was a question you raised earlier, and I discussed that with you. But having said that, that is something I brought forth to some of the leaders within the CPP. As you know, sometime next week, I will be meeting with other leaders of the CPP, and I'll continue to express that view. That is a view that I hold as well. So I will just join you in expressing that view for us. But I strongly believe that the CPP do need to reach out to other independents that want to build a consensus so that we can maintain or we can have a stronger position in the House of Senate and begin to hold this government feet to the fire. So yeah, definitely I agree with you on that.
Thank you, Josh. We have 8 minutes left, so let me give you my 2 questions, and then we can conclude this broadcast. I have heard about a debate that is emerging, started by folks who I want to say propagate in favor of the opposition bloc against the CDC, saying that with these seemingly overwhelming victory in favor of the CPP, and now that you have more senators in the Senate, you might be thinking about impeaching the president. The question there is this something that you have heard? Is this something that you are discussing among yourself in the ranks and file of the CPP? And is this something you really want to do? And what would be the benefits? That's question number 1. You have a good memory, so let me give you the last one. George, we've seen party scam. You have been relentless on your criticism of the CDC, how they came to power without a plan. There was not a framework whatsoever. They didn't even have a governing plan when they took over, and later they have to find one. So same question to you. The CPP, do you intend to craft a governing plan to govern our country? And will the Liberian people see that plan long before 2023?
All right, so let me answer your question. The very first thing I want to make one thing very clear. Many Liberians have gotten things confused. When the CPP decided to contest the general election, which is the presidential election, we're not going to contest the election without an agenda for transforming the country. So obviously we'll put forth a plan. I think there's a time frame for us to do that. That is what campaign is about. Campaign is a process that allows a candidate or a party, a political institution, to be able to tell the electorates what they're going to do for them to better their lives so they get elected. And we will do just that. One thing we keep getting wrong here is that people misconstrue the CPP framework final document that bind the full party together. That really don't have nothing to do with you. You can see it if we offer it to you. But really, the people that should cry for it, it should be members of the CPP, because that document is a document that hold them together. It has nothing to do with you. Now, what you should be concerned about as citizens is the CPP plan or their agenda for how they intend to govern Liberia. That is what. But what people do is instead of asking for that, they are concerned about CPP finalized documentation for the full collaborating political party. Because that document, let's say, if you come from the Rainbow Coalition, how does the CPP final documentation have anything to do with you? Nothing. You're not a member of them. So what we need to do is to be careful what we ask for. One thing I will say to you is very clear. We are definitely going to put forth an agenda that reflects the views and aspirations of the Liberian people. We will also put forth a plan to transform our country and improve our people living standard. Now, on the basis of the other questions about political parties, right? Here's what I want to say to you, Anthony. In our criticism of this government, we've been very, very clear. Very, very clear. We said this government have failed. And one thing I can say to you, we in the CPP will do exactly what it takes to transform Liberia. You asked a question about impeachment.
Right.
Let me be very clear. We in the CPP, we respect the rule of law. Impeachment proceedings commence in the lower house, and that is not something we will even think about. We will be stupid to think of such a thing, knowing very well the lower house is controlled by Speaker Buffer Chima. I don't think that's something we will even want to pursue. No, for right now, Prince Moyi, who has been elected, the senator from Bond County, used to be the deputy speaker, so he no longer will be there. I won't be surprised if another citizen get elected. So it will be very foolish on our part to begin to think about impeachment proceeding beginning in the lower house to remove President Weah. That is not something we will even focus on. Our focus is different, and we have to concentrate towards issues that affect the living standard of our people and creating opportunities and improving our people's life. We're not going to go down that path. So I've not heard that conversation anywhere. We've not had that discussion anywhere. So I won't lie to you. But just so you know, it's not even anywhere. We're not thinking about it.
All right. Thank you so very much. Let me read comments here, and I will take your parting comment, and we'll shut this broadcast down. Raymond Barra Denzel, he had no right tampering with the people money. Philip Murray right, this homeboy called Bekube has done enough danger to our poor country, then good. This is Clay Jeepley right, Bernie operated on instruction from former President Salif. He was a minister that served at the will and pleasure of former President Salif. Let me see this one. This one is from Anthony Gay. Congratulations, Chairman, and all the CPP candidates. Francis M. right. Cow meat eater ma jabate. Anthony Gay again, CPP strong. Anthony Gay again, the white cow is winning. This one is from Kiazulu, right? Koji got his own dictionary made, Lobbo. That was when you were questioning some words that the Lord Mayor uses all the time. Francis Wright, let NEC give the balance 213 polling station to T5. And that person is laughing about that. Thomas Wright, very proud of you, little brother. We, the 21st century progressive Liberians in the diaspora, must change the discourse in Liberia. And this one's from O'Neill Rainey. The person right, let's be honest with ourselves. The we are led government are full with incompetent people. That is how the person nailed it there. This one is from Inja Mr. Color, who just left the phone online. Why can you go organize them better? You on your own, my dear. This one is from Samuel Mowulu. It is possible if the government doesn't behave. Maybe talking about impeachment there. Anthony Gagin, George Lobbo, you are strong, bro. Comfort Henry Wright. George needs to step down without disgrace, I think. Few comments. George, I have to let you go. What is your parting statement? Liberians, despite these victory, are going through tough times, George Lobbo. These victories that you have won and continue to win will not put bread on their table. They will remain in despair even when your senators take seat. The first thing the government will do, George, is to give them cards, especially for the newly elected ones. And even the person who will be elected as representative, I understand there are two representative elections going on. They will get their cards and the people will still be waiting. Talk to them. They need encouragement at this time. Go ahead, George.
Let me first and foremost take this time, Anthony, to thank the Almighty God for His grace and His protection over my life since I've been in this country. I also want to thank my brothers and sisters in the diaspora, especially Liberians in the United States. I want to take this time to acknowledge our supporters, followers of the draft. I want to thank you guys in a special way for everything you've done and continue to do for me while I'm in Liberia. I want to also extend my thanks and appreciations to all of you, whether belonging to political parties, civil society organizations that have been calling frequently to check up on me, ensuring that I'm safe. To my brothers and sisters in Liberia, I have been on the ground for over 10 days now. I have seen the condition. I know what you guys are going through. I am a testimony to what is happening here. I drive around the city. I walk the principal streets of Monrovia. I understand how difficult life has become. But I say to you, at the end of this tunnel, there is a light. But for us to get there, we all must hold hands. We must stand together in believing in what is real, standing for the truth, holding people accountable. We no longer can see election as an opportunity to get new clothes. Election must not be an opportunity where people feed themselves for 2 months. Elections do have consequences. The decisions we make has the propensity to shape the future for ourselves, our children, and the future of our country. And I'm grateful to all of you for what you did on December 8th. Indeed, you sent a message to a government that lacks the ability to deliver. Indeed, you told President Weah that his performance has not only been terrible, but it's been beyond imaginary. So on the basis of that, you wanted him to understand how you feel. And this is why Thomas Fowler and many other people who ran on the CDC ticket were defeated. I want to thank you very much. To Liberians in the diaspora, I want to thank you for your support, for your involvement in these elections. Let nobody tell you that you have no influence. That's a lie. And I communicated that message clearly to them, that people must respect Liberians in the diaspora. I want to say thank you. Once again, let me say thanks to the Focus on Liberia family. You guys have always been there. You guys have always given me the platform to be able to speak to our people and speak on critical national issues. On the basis of that, my senior brother Anthony C, I want to thank you as well for all you guys have been doing and continue to do. To you and Dennis Ja, I want to thank all of you in the States while you guys are out there. We'll continue to do our part on the ground. Remain safe. I want to say thank you very much.
Thank you, George Lobbo. George Lobbo is currently in Monrovia, Liberia, where he joined us in this exclusive interview. Before I close the broadcast, let me recognize Rabo Monsieur Pade, based in the homeland Liberia. He has been contributing to national conversation in a very forceful way. He is on mission to help contribute to deliver Liberia. Monsieur, that's the name I like. I want to recognize you. He is also a frequent guest here at Focus on Liberia. We will connect with you very soon, Monsieur, for us to talk some things. You know, the conversation continues. On that note, folks, in cyberspace, we want to say thank you so much for joining our broadcast here at Focus on Liberia. I'm Anthony here. I brought you our Saturday special edition on this Saturday. As always, we have this song that says we are all Liberians. We just had a very peaceful election. I believe we have shown something to the world and we have demonstrated something to ourselves that in the midst of the political divide, we can muster the courage to be peaceful. Because it is that commodity for which we may not be able to spend money to give our people. Our government is incapacitated economically to provide for our people. Their basic social services are in the toilet, somebody will say. And so maybe we can afford to give them peace. So let us give them that peace that they need to go to real life and hustle. So let us give them that peace so that they can go to Wallasa and hustle. So let us give them that peace for them to march for freedom and even to cast their ballot. And when that ballot is cast, let us give them peace so that that ballot can prevail. I'm Anthony C, and I want to say thank you for watching. Enjoy the song We are all Liberian. George Lobbo, thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you.